Giant squid. For most of recorded history, it was a sailor's excuse for losing cargo. Then the USS Stein came back to port. A US Navy destroyer, hull intact, mission complete, but carved into its sonar dome were deep circular gouges, suction marks, hooked ones. Something had grabbed the ship in total darkness 2,000 feet down, and nobody on board felt it happen. They only found the evidence when they got home. Each mark matched the ring-toothed suckers of a giant squid. Serrated like a saw, designed to grip and tear. The animal that made them had eyes the size of dinner plates and arms long enough to reach across a 2-lane road. For centuries, sailors swore something massive lived below. Naval engineers assumed it was myth. Then a destroyer came home with claw marks. If your ship came back with gouges from something nobody has ever seen alive, do you file a report or do you quietly fix the hull and say nothing? The Kraken didn't stop being real. We just stopped listening to the people who saw it. Sperm whale, biggest predator with teeth on Earth. Also the loudest animal ever recorded, by a significant margin. One click hits 230 decibels. To put that in physical terms, a jet engine at close range is around 140. A sperm whale click isn't just louder, it's in a different category of sound entirely. Loud enough that early Cold War sonar operators, listening for Soviet submarines, sometimes picked up signals they couldn't explain. And it's coming from a whale. They dive over 1 kilometer deep to hunt giant squid in complete darkness, navigating entirely by sound, the same medium submarines use to stay hidden. A brain larger than any animal on Earth, running sonar more sophisticated than most hardware we've built, in water where our best technology struggles. For a while during the Cold War, certain deep underwater sounds were classified. Some turned out to be geological, some turned out to be whales. The line between the two was apparently not always obvious. When the signal you built a military strategy around turns out to be a whale. Great white shark, responsible for more damage to US Navy equipment than most people realize. Not through aggression, through curiosity. That distinction matters. Great whites are covered in electroreceptors that detect microelectrical fields, the kind produced by a heartbeat, a muscle twitch, or a piece of active sonar equipment running a current through seawater. To a great white, an underwater camera housing or a research submersible doesn't look like metal. It feels like something alive, so it investigates. There are documented cases of great whites biting through equipment worth more than most people's homes. Cameras, sensor arrays, cable housings, each with clean rows of triangular serrations pressed into the casing. Not attacks, inspections. The shark bit once, got no useful information and moved on. The animal isn't broken, its sensors are working perfectly. The problem is that we built things that feel interesting to it. If the ocean's apex predator treats $1 million instrument like a free sample, what does that say about how well we actually understand it? Goliath grouper. It doesn't chase anything, it just appears. One moment you're hovering next to a shipwreck in 40 feet of water. The next, something the size and weight of a grand piano is directly beside you, completely still, watching. It didn't swim up, it materialized. 1 second the water was empty, then it wasn't. That's the part divers remember. A full-grown Goliath grouper reaches 800 pounds. It hunts by opening its mouth and creating a vacuum. Prey disappears into it before the surrounding water has time to react. Not a chase, not a struggle, a door opening and closing. It also produces sound, a deep, resonant boom from muscles vibrating against its swim bladder. Divers near Navy wrecks and underwater structures describe it as sounding like a diesel engine starting in the dark. In low visibility, it's been mistaken for mechanical equipment. It isn't aggressive, it doesn't need to be. When something this large drifts out of a wreck and stops 3 feet from your face, your nervous system makes decisions before your brain gets involved. Dolphins. The Navy spent billions on sonar. Then it hired the dolphin. The US Navy didn't try to study them, it recruited them. Since the 1960s, the Navy Marine Mammal Program has trained bottlenose dolphins for active military operations, harbor patrol, mine detection, intruder identification, not as experiments, as personnel. They receive training, handlers, and operational deployments. Let that sit for a second. The reason is straightforward and slightly embarrassing for the engineering side of things. Dolphin echolocation can distinguish objects buried in sediment, identify specific materials at distance, and operate in zero visibility conditions faster and more accurately than sonar hardware that cost billions to develop. The biology is better than the machine. They're not carrying weapons, they mark targets, surface for handlers, and return. Clean, fast, reliable. In murky harbor water where cameras see nothing and sensors struggle, a dolphin finds the mine in minutes. If an animal that looks like a theme park attraction outperforms military hardware, how many other things in the ocean are we dramatically underestimating? Cuvier's beaked whale. Most people have never heard of it. The US Navy wishes it hadn't either. This animal holds its breath for over 3.5 hours. One documented dive went to 2,992 meters, deep enough to stack 2 Empire State Buildings on the ocean floor and still have water above. It does this quietly, without sonar, without GPS, navigating in pressure that would crush an unmodified submarine. That's not the scary part. The Navy spent decades developing sonar systems to find quiet things moving deep underwater. Then military exercises off the Bahamas started producing something nobody expected. These whales washing ashore with burst blood vessels and decompression injuries. They had panicked, surfaced too fast. The Navy's own sound had done it. An animal most people can't name forced one of the most advanced militaries on Earth to rethink how it uses the ocean. Not because it attacked, because it was already there, doing things we couldn't. If something outdives your submarines and you barely knew it existed, who's actually in control of the deep?